should do it now.
So the assembly is about bringing people together, making connections, and we're under difficult times.
I think there's always a shortage of opportunities for artists to kind of display work. We need to get out into the town, show our work in different places, and therefore engage different types of people.
I think the most important part is unlocking people's creativity. A lot of people go through life and they're just like, oh, I'm not creative. I'm just like going through life and doing what I need to do. But like everybody's creative and everybody needs to kind of like have this release in a certain way, because there's so many different types of creativity as well.
To assemble, it's a process of putting something together that makes something else. This project is separate people coming together with different work. We are all part of that assembly, and that is a complete experiment really. We don't really know what's going to happen, but we're going to find out.
Assembly doesn't have to be just people. The natural world is full of it, so the video kind of shows an immersion of what it feels like to be in this. But also, it's such a fantastic sound when it envelops you. I thought, well, I have to do a soundscape. So I'm going to do a live track. You could learn from that, for example, everyone in a group's got something to say. You could find out at school that you have to work to include everybody, because if you don't do that, the machine would crash if it was a murmuration. It's like, it's an eighth wonder of the world, really, you know.
I ask people to write or draw on the paper, and I've used the shape of my hands as a kind of map, if you like. So it helps you place your hands in the right spot on the paper, so that you can shape it in more or less the shape that the sculpture's made of. So they're like people's thoughts and ideas, but all kind of joined together, if you like.
What I've created here is an installation which is based on the theme of the whole project, which is assembly. It's taking the idea of bringing in the non-human into education. I've taken some of the graffiti that the children have done, the students have done up at South Dartmoor College, and taken that and turned that into lichen through artificial intelligence. But it was really about bringing in the non-human into the kind of conversation about our education, and I really loved lichen as a kind of metaphor as well in terms of education, because it's a symbiont, so it's a mix of an algae and a fungus, but codependent, so it becomes one organism. And I think that's a wonderful sort of metaphor for education. You know, we need to kind of bring things in and assimilate them. And the fact of the matter is that artificial intelligence is another non-human that we're now kind of creating, and students are going to have to deal with that non-human in lots of different ways. Maybe by reducing these issues to more sort of intimate things, doing some kind of drawing, we can understand things better like that. And so I think that's the role of art, is that, you know, it's just about getting people in, let's discuss it, you know, let's think creatively about it as well. So yeah, that's what I hope will happen.
I mean, it's complicated life, isn't it? Well, we make it very complicated. I mean, that's the biggest thing in life, I think, trying to work out who you are and how you can be constructive and fit in. The pieces of work that I've made are sculptural objects, really. They're simple kind of pieces of wood and materials and things, but they're assembled. It's a simple idea. They represent awkward, individual, quirky, odd little characters, really. And in a way, that to me represented sort of young people, maybe at school, people growing up, really. You know, all of us, quite similar, but all got our kind of slightly cranky bits, you know, that we haven't worked out yet either. You know, and that's a lesson, isn't it, in itself? What are we teaching our children to be? Particularly, I felt, you know, are we training them to be in a kind of certain type of economic stroke political construct that they just grow up and take part in and service? Or are we sort of teaching them to be something else, you know? It is supported, sort of arts and things, but you know, a lot of it isn't really. But I think artists are just as important as anyone else.
I think as a young artist, the most important thing for me to be doing is to be making the connections with like older, more experienced artists. And being in school is great for learning how to do the art, but being around different artists and working on a project like this means that I can actually like gain experiences and an understanding of how the art world like works.
As a young person, you don't really get a lot of opportunities and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm really grateful that I've been allowed to come here and do this. I don't tend to do a lot of collaboration with people, usually just in my room making music. So yeah, I think maybe I've learned to collaborate with people a bit more, and yeah, just glad to be a part of it. Yeah.
The whole project is generational. The guy on the sound desk downstairs, Archie, was he 16? But I mean, I'm listening to him and he's listening to me because we're going to do something. He's teaching me things because he's working in the latest gizmo technology. But I know things like Celtic tuning he's never quite heard of, really. Great. So there's an exchange, and that's on all levels.
It's your peers' responsibility to also support you, and so to have 9 times out of 10 a friend or a peer in the group, actually it becomes the responsibility of somebody beyond just that person that's stood up at the class at the front talking. If we can introduce the idea of this more sensitive community, hopefully will spread.
The wonderful thing about this project has been that it's really been about a kind of sense of place and a sense of community and engaging with local people, particularly the fact that it's here in St Lawrence Chapel, a very kind of old, important, community building. It was a school and now it's a sort of venue, a kind of meeting place. I hope by doing this that we're going to generate more opportunities for artists to show in these types of spaces. I think all of that has been a kind of wonderful aspect of the project as well, and just means that hopefully it's got some local relevance and local importance to people, in the future as well as now.
you.